Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over my favorite Devney Perry books. So Liezl from Liezl Loves Books tagged me in a video that she made about her favorite Devney Perry books. She asked me what mine were, so I am making a video for this tag, and I'll leave her channel and original video linked down below. But let's get into the books. So one of the first books I've read of hers was Riffs and Refrains. This is a standalone novel, but it's in the Hush Notes series. She co-wrote the series with Serena Bowen and Rebecca Yarros. This follows a band called Hush Notes. Devney Perry wrote Quinn's story. This is a rock star's second chance single dad romance. Quinn is our female drummer. She's from a small town in Montana. She goes back when her grandmother dies, and she reunites with Graham and meets his 7-year-old son, Colin, who's a big fan of the band Hush Notes. And for Quinn, it's a kind of bittersweet to go home because she loved her grandmother. She did not get along with her family for the most part. They did not approve of her life choices, with the exception of her grandmother. And Graham became a father in college, had a one-night stand, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've read this book, but I do think about it. But he had a one-night stand, and the girl did not want the baby, so he offered to take the baby if she would not abort it, because he wanted to be a dad. And so he had Colin. I love this book so much because there's a lot of heart in this book. The thing with Devney Perry, she writes really good second chance romances. There's something, this longing that just comes out naturally in her writing, specifically around second chance romances, and I loved it. I love that Graham never judged Quinn for her life choices, and that he always really truly did love her. She needed to do what she needed to do, and I love how they reconnected and reunited, and the romance was done beautifully. I love Colin as a child character because he was written with purpose, and he had his own personality, which was great. And I loved how Quinn mentored Colin. Oh, and I love how Graham was there for Quinn when she was grieving the passing of her grandmother. So it was a beautifully written story. That whole trilogy, the Hush Note trilogy, the first one is Serena Bowen's, then it's Devney Perry's, and then it's Rebecca Yarros' book. I highly recommend this series. This series is really, really good. But this is really what introduced me to Devney Perry, was the series, because I've been following Rebecca Yarros for a very long time. And that's how I really was introduced to Devney Perry. Another favorite book from her is The Bluff. This is book 2 in the Calamity Montana series. She originally wrote this under Will and Nash, and then moved it over to Devney Perry. This one is a one-night stand turned into a marriage of convenience. So we met Everly in book 1 because her friend Lucy moved to Calamity, Montana. So when Everly is visiting Lucy, she has a one-night stand with Reese Huxley, who is a local artist. He is also a single dad to a 16-year-old girl. He does not have custody of his daughter. He has a past where he went to prison. This is where the marriage of convenience comes in. He's trying to get custody of his 16-year-old daughter because his ex and his ex's new husband is they're toxic. They're not good for his daughter Savannah. But because he's an ex-con, getting custody without having a established marriage would be very difficult for him. So Everly decides to marry him for help because she's running aimless at this point. She doesn't really know what to do with her life. So she figured she'd stick around for a little bit to help him get custody of his daughter, because to get her out of this really bad situation. It is their romance. They start really out as one-night stands to friends with benefits to more. And the way Huxley is with his daughter was so good. The romance was really well done. She worked in his art gallery and helped out there. And then you have a external conflict that happens within his business that really did put them through the ringer, as well as what his ex was doing to his daughter. And I really loved this. This was such a good book. This is my favorite book in the Calamity Montana series. Hux had such great character growth, as did Savannah, who's his daughter, as well as Everly. And the romance was believable and beautiful, so I absolutely love that one. Now, the next one that I really love, and this is out of the Eden series, which I think is her most popular series, is Garnet Flats. This is book 3, and this one is Foster and Talia. Not everybody likes this one, and I can appreciate that, but I love a good angsty, messy romance. And this one was messy all the time. Foster comes looking for her. This is his second chance. He's an MMA fighter, she's a doctor, and she's like, she doesn't want anything to do with him because of what happened in their past, how he left her. He married her best friend, or who she thought was her best friend. She didn't get the whole story. He did not give her the whole story. The whole story is that what Foster did was explainable because he wanted to make money and make a name for himself as a fighter. He was basically being blackmailed not to marry Talia, but marry her best friend. I feel like they were soulmates. I loved how he was determined to get her back, and she made him work for it. This one is just a really good one. I love the romance. I love the connection between the characters. Like I said, I feel like they were soulmates. I loved how when Talia found out exactly what happened, she was more forgiving, because that speaks to her as a character. And I love how he did have to work for it. I mean, he uprooted his entire life in Las Vegas and moved to a small town, Montana, just to get her back. So when he could. So to me, that is a lot of character growth right there, because he did put a lot into getting her back. Because uprooting your life when you're on the top of your game to get back to the love of your life, that would be very difficult, especially when he wanted to be the best MMA fighter. So now, of course, I have to talk about Letters to Molly. This is book 2 in the Mason Jar series. This one I absolutely love. This is Marriage in Trouble, Second Chance. They're already, Finn and Molly are already divorced. We find out why they're divorced, because we know that they're divorced in book 1, okay? And they have a good co-parenting relationship because they have 2 kids. And someone is mailing his letters to her, because he wrote her love letters through their relationship. There is something tragic that happened that started off book 1 that really affected Finn and Molly in different ways that it affected Molly's best friend, who is also Finn's sister. There was assumptions that were made on Molly's part, in which caused her to do something that she immediately regretted. I feel like there wasn't communication at the beginning of during their marriage when it started breaking down, because they were not communicating, which led to the divorce. So Molly getting all these letters, which were very personal, very much love letters, and he wrote them for her, but never gave them to her, because they were how he felt in that moment. So when she was given those letters, she understood exactly what he was thinking, especially in the harder times. And they really had to work through it all. And it was so well done. There is other woman drama in this, and there is also cheating. Molly did cheat, which is the catalyst for the divorce. So they had to work through that. But it is a great second chance romance, and it will put you through it because you're following them and learning what happened as they are dealing with it. So I highly recommend that one. Another one that I absolutely love, and it just came out, and is Crossroads. This is book 1 in her Haven Ranch series. This one, Indy met West on his family's ranch when she was there at the resort part of the ranch with her parents. She's rich and from Texas. His dad and his mom are divorced, and there's stuff going on. His dad isn't making the best decisions financially when we started, and Indy came in and bought the ranch. And West was not happy. He felt betrayed by her because of stuff that happened in the past. This is dual timeline. So you see what happened in the past from the time that they met when she was 8 and he was 10 to the time where they fell in love by the time they were in their early 20s, to why they didn't work out. Again, it was kind of lack of communication, but she was only going every other year or something to this resort, but they were each other's first true loves. This was very much a soulmate feeling to this, and the way she wrote this with the dual timeline really worked for how the story needed to be told, so we understood India and West and their feelings and their frustrations. The romance was gorgeously written. I loved there was enough spice in here, because when they were coming back together, they did jump back into bed together, and I was like, why are they doing this so soon? But then you find out why. I really enjoyed this one. I highly recommend this one, and I'm really excited for the next book in the series, which is called Sunlight. So the last book I want to talk about is Ten Queen. This is book 6 in the Clifton Forge series. This is my favorite series of all her series. It's either between Risks and Refrains or Steel King that is my first book I read from her. This is the end of the motorcycle club. Well, they were disbanded in Clifton Forge, Montana. This is very much a romantic suspense series, and the last book is Emmett Stone and Nova. Nova is a girl who came into the bar, the Betsy, and was looking to do a one-night stand with Emmett Stone. She has ulterior motives because her dad is the Tucker Talbot. So Tucker Talbot is a really, really bad guy. She thought her dad was more innocent than what is actually truthful. She figured that if her dad's gonna go down, then Emmett Stone and Dash Slater and all the other men in this series are gonna go down with her dad. Her motive is to get all the dirt on Emmett and his friends, and so she ends up seducing him, and he's a very willing participant. He's definitely a playboy. He's also not very trusting. There's stuff that happened to him in his past, especially with his father and everything, and then what happened with Dash's father at the beginning of the series. But he ends up trusting Nova when he shouldn't, but he doesn't know that. And so you have this kind of cat and mouse game. He is a hacker. He knows his way around tech, so he sets up different things that she did not know he was going to set up, and their chemistry is off the chart. This is definitely When I Stand to Hate to Love to Love. The character growth in this is so well done. This is such a great ending to a very, very good series. Yeah, it's starting to thunder out now. We're not just having rain, we're now having thunder. Woohoo! Anyhow, kind of perfect because this book ended a really great series with a bang. There's one scene where she burned down the clubhouse. Totally badassery. Loved it. I love Nova's character. I love Emmett's character. This was the perfect ending to one of the best series I've read from Devney Perry, and actually one of my favorite series of all time. So I absolutely have to put this on here. So those are some of my favorite Devney Perry books. Obviously I can't talk about them all because we'd be here all day, because she is a very prolific writer. Let me know if we have any favorites in common, whether you disagree with me on some of them. What is your favorite Devney Perry book, or do you have multiple? Let me know down below. And if you made this far in this video and you want to let me know that you're here, please leave me a guitar emoji for... Actually, no. Leave me a drum emoji because Quinn was a drummer. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.